This PowerPoint will help you understand equal fractions, or what's called fraction families. It will help you with the worksheet from page 9 onwards. So we use a number square like this to help us find fraction families. Let's take the fraction 1/5. So we look first of all for the row with the bottom number of the fraction. So we look for 5. So that row across there is our 5 times table. And you can see that if you go directly upwards from that 5, you find the top number of the fraction, you find 1. So what we can do is go along that 5 row, and we can find the fraction families by looking along the row and then seeing what number is directly above the one we've chosen. So if we take 10 for our bottom number of the fraction, we can see that directly above the 10 right at the top we get 2. So our fraction is 2 over 10. Let's choose 35. So that's going to be the bottom number of our fraction. And if we look straight up on the top row, we see 7. So our fraction is 7 over 35. So they all mean the same thing. They all mean 1/5, but they are all part of the same fraction family. Look at another example. We'll take 1/4. So again, we look at the bottom number of the fraction and we find that row in the table. So our bottom number here is 4, and you can see that directly above that we have the top number of the fraction, which is 1. So again, we can take any number on that 4 row and make it the bottom number of our fraction. So let's take 8, and then the top number of our fraction will be the number that's directly above that 8 on the top row. So in this case it's 2. So we can write 2 over 8 as our next fraction. And we can choose any number from that 4 row. So let's choose 20. We go directly above it to the top row to find the top number of the fraction, and that's 5. So our fraction is 5 over 20. So again, all those fractions mean the same as 1/4, but we can write them differently and they form part of the same fraction family. So that's what you have to do for page 9 of the booklet. Just a quick word on equal fractions. You can see that the same fraction can be written in lots of different ways. So a half, for example, can be written as 2 over 4. It can be written as 3 over 6. It can be written as 5 over 10. It can be written as 345 over 690. And you can test whether they are equivalent or the same by turning each one into a divide sum. So you do the top number divided by the bottom number. And if you did that for each of these fractions, you'd find that the answer is always 0.5. So if you do want to test any fractions to see whether they are the same, you turn them into a divide sum, and if you get the same answer for the different divide sums, then you know the fractions are the same. Let's look at this table. This will help you with page 10 of the worksheet. You're asked to find fraction partners, which means you have to find fractions or groups of fractions that are the same size. So the first one it asks you to look at is 2/3, and it wants you to find how many 6 that is equivalent to. So what we do is we look at the 3rd row of this table and we count 2/3 from the left, and we draw a line at the end of those 2/3, and then you follow that line down to the 6th row and you count how many 6 match that. So in this case we've got 2/3, and if you look at the 6th row you can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, and that ends in the same place as the 2/3. So that's how you know they are fraction partners. They're the same amount. So you can use this square to do the rest of the questions in A and B on page 10. For page 10 part C and page 11, you have to work out equal fractions. And to do this, you have to work out what's been done to a number to change it into another one. So if we look at the fraction 6/9, and let's say we're given the fraction something over 18, and we're asked to turn 6/9 into something over 18. What you have to work out is what has been done to the number 9 to turn it into the number 18. And the rule is, whatever you do to the bottom number, you also have to do to the top number. So we'll come back to that in a second. So let's look at this square. Let's find our 9 row, because that's the bottom number of the fraction we're working with. We've got 9 there. So we have to work out what we do to that 9 to turn it into 18. So on the 9 row, find the number 18, and then if you go up all the way to the top, you find that number, you find the number 2. And what that is telling us is 9 times 2 equals 18. So what we've had to do to this 9 is times it by 2 to turn it into 18. So let's look at that rule again. The rule is, whatever you do to the bottom number, you also have to do to the top number. So because we've times 9 by 2, we also have to time that 6 by 2. And if we do that, it turns into 12. So 6/9 is the same as 12/18. We can also do the same with divide. So let's look at something over 3. So how do we turn 6/9 into something over 3? Again, what have we done to 9 to turn it into 3? Let's use this square again. So this time we're going to look at the 3 row, because that's the lowest fraction that we're working with. And we're going to find 9 on that row. So there's the 9. So what we can do now is again go directly up from that 9 to find out what's been done to it to turn it into 3. And in this case, we've had to divide by 3. So what that is telling us is 9, to turn it into 3, you have to divide by 3. So if you put that back into our fraction, we've done 9 divided by 3 turns it into 3. So the rule is, whatever you do to the bottom number, you have to do to the top number. So we also have to divide that 6 by 3, and 6 divided by 3 gives us 2. So we can see from this that 6/9 is the same as 12/18, and it's the same as 2/3. Now for page 10C and page 11, you only need to worry about the multiplication side of this, but I have shown you the divide side just because it's a useful thing to know.